Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Shantia here. So I am going to be doing cluster reviews for the Married at First Sight season, I want to say 13, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to be doing cluster reviews, and this is going to be for the previous 4 episodes. So 2, 3, 4. No, sorry, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So I actually did a review, but I'm redoing it, and because I already watched the previous episode from last week, I'm going to include that into this review. So how are you guys liking the couples so far? I am curious to hear in the comment section like what you guys are feeling about the couples this season, and I would love to hear what you guys are thinking, because it's things are getting really interesting. What I really like about this show is that it teaches you a lot about relationships. It teaches you about the different dynamics. It teaches you about triggers. How do people experience their triggers? How do they deal with their triggers? How do people process pain? How do people process trauma? How do people love? How do people open up to love? And so that's why I really love watching this show, because to me, this is probably the most authentic reality TV show that focuses on vulnerability and taking a risk. A lot of people think like it's crazy to get married at first sight, which it is, and it's very challenging. It's very hard. I think the success rate is 1 out of 5, so it's about 25%, 20% success rate on this show. It's not very high, but at the same time, you got to give it to these people for putting themselves in new situations, because if anything, it helps them to learn pretty quickly what does and doesn't work for them. So I find that the people who are the most successful in this show, they're just the most ready to change, the most ready to transform, and also the most ready to open, love, and receive as well. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the first couple. I just realized my microphone is way over there. Let me bring this a little bit closer. Okay. So the first couple is going to be Rachel and Jose, and that is because Rachel and Jose are absolutely killing it. They're opening up, they're vulnerable, they're having fun, they're letting the person know exactly kind of what their flaws are, exactly what their nitpicky expectations are, and they're being vulnerable and open about what they struggle with. So Jose is really blowing me away because he's coming off as a very natural provider. At first I wasn't sure about him because he said something that kind of seemed like a flag to me, which was that he felt like women expected to be handed things on a platter. But I'm guessing this response was coming from a previous relationship where the energies weren't quite an even give and take. Because as you can see with Rachel, he's wanting to give her all those things. And so I think Rachel and Jose are a really good example of that masculine and feminine energy polarity, and what happens when a woman is in her feminine, when she's having fun, she's vulnerable, she's open, she's creative, she's flowing with her energy. That actually allows the man to be more in his masculine energy, and it helps him to step up to wanting to provide, wanting to help her out, wanting to solve problems, wanting to kind of cater to her. And it's just a natural give and take. What women bring in fluctuation, it's not even the right word. What women bring in generosity and in heaps and bounds is that emotional energy, that emotional groundedness in the relationship, establishing that emotional foundation into the relationship. And so I think Rachel is doing that beautifully, because she's just being herself. She's having fun. She's being quirky. And she's letting Jose know, I got issues with I'm not the best saver. I like spending. What did she say? She said something about, I have some hoarding tendencies. But then she's also opening up and being like, hey, do you want to help me with this? That's allowing a man to kind of step in and actually be like, know his role or know his position in the relationship, be necessary. Here's the thing, people don't get in relationships for nothing. They get into relationships so that they can learn something, so that they can be of use to people. So it's like, this is what I bring to the relationship. What do you bring? So you're bringing something to the relationship. That's what makes a partnership, right? If you think about astrology, the 7th house is about partnership, but it's not just marriage. It's also business partnerships. And marriage is literally a contract. So you're contractedly binding yourself to someone. You're saying, hey, it's not that you're signing up for roles specifically, but you're signing up to, and I think this is what is the most challenging about marriage, is that you're signing up, or even a relationship in general, you're signing up to be with that person through the thick and thin, through the fluctuation, through the transformations that you both go through individually. So, you know, maybe during this period of time, someone does more of the financial, they take care of the financial, and then maybe over a period of time it switches, and then maybe it balances out, and both people are kind of providing the same amount of financials in the relationship. So it just depends on where your relationship is at. You get to customize it to what you want. So I think Rachel and Jose are doing a really good job. The house tours were really funny. Jose obviously, yeah, he likes things a certain way. His apartment was actually looked really nice and was really nicely decorated. He had some like qualities and things about it, and I actually like that. I think when a man is in touch with his femininity, I think that's really healthy. That actually, I think, tends to make for a much more balanced person or human being, because then they're not like, oh, I don't want to do all that. It's just like, yeah, I like home decor as well. I'm interested in how my home looks as well. I'm interested in adorning myself. Like, I think it's actually a really healthy thing, and especially in today's day in society, it's pretty normal for men to have that balance with their femininity. But all in all, I think they are just a prime example of vulnerability, having fun, throwing yourself in the experience, wanting to make that commitment, kind of knowing where the two of you kind of fit together and come together as a partnership. And I think Rachel hasn't, so this is what I like to call it. It's the female ego. Rachel hasn't really let her female ego get in the way, because she's offered for Jose to help and be like, hey, I need issues with here and there, and I need help in these areas. And I think women, sometimes we have a lot of issues with asking for help, right? And I think that has a lot to do with the female ego, right? I'm Miss Independent, I can do it all on my own. But I'm gonna get into that later, because the Miss Independent thing is, as Mina, the universe guru, talks about, it's a program. And I totally attest to this, because I've had this attitude too for some time in my life. But then I realized, I'm like, I don't want to figure things out on my own all the time. It's like, yeah, help me. If you want to help me, please. And so I see Rachel like letting Jose in, and like, yeah, like, I want you to help me out. But on occasion, they've kind of had that conversation about money and wanting to bring 50-50 into the financial support for their living situation. Here's the thing. If someone was offering to pay, there's other things you can do besides pay for the mortgage. You know, you can save that money. You can pay your debt down. You can save for the kids, you know, because kids get really expensive. Like, you can put that money in some kind of fund. You can invest it into real estate, or you can do something else with it. So take that as an opportunity, because you guys are a partnership now. Take that as an opportunity to figure out, like, okay, how can I advance my money now? Like, how can I use this as an opportunity for us to both succeed? Because you're taking care of this, but I want us to thrive. You know, how can I bring that experience into the equation? And so I would challenge Rachel to do that. Like, we'll see how she does. So far, I think she's doing beautiful. She's doing great. I love that Jose, you know, he's like, he believes in partnership, joint financial accounts, and all of those things. Moving on to Bao and Johnny. So Bao and Johnny are kind of going through a bit of a scuffle, and I'm just gonna get straight to the point. It's because of vulnerability, and it's because of the triggers that are coming up. So the vibe that I get from Johnny is that Johnny is a very warm person, right? And that's actually what he's seeking and what he so desires: affection, that warmth. And Bao is actually kind of coming off as very, someone said this word, and I actually thought it was kind of accurate, which is sterile. She was coming off as kind of sterile. Now, she can be very warm, and she can actually be very intense. And it may be taking her time to open up. However, Johnny is very skittish, and so he kind of needs that just a little bit more encouragement from her to feel a little bit more connected and secure in the relationship. Again, as I said, women naturally bring a lot of emotional energy into a relationship, and so when a woman isn't stable in her energy and in her emotions, guess what the relationship is? It's unstable, it fluctuates, it's a roller coaster. Because the woman allows for that emotional stability by creating and setting the emotional grounds in the relationship, and kind of setting that dial right and kind of resetting it. she enables him to feel a lot more secure in where they're at. So Johnny is a very warm person. He's looking for that warmth. He's looking for that warmth and loving, emotions and feelings. And Bao is kind of like a rock. Like, she's just kind of, set in her own ways. And the thing about relationships, and especially the thing with this experiment, is this is the opportunity to change and transform yourself and to be like, okay, what can I do to be a better person? What can I do to bring something into this relationship? And her going back and forth with Johnny about the showering and all this stuff, it's just, it's just a kind of, I think, a small compromise I think she can make for the relationship that can help them to elevate. Because Johnny was just, he was trying to make it easy for her too. He's just like, minimal requirement, take a shower, that's it. And she's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna be doing that. That's the minimum requirement. I'm like, if someone told me that was the minimal requirement, I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. I might be lazy, but I'm like, for you, I will do it because it's a minimal requirement. And you're letting me know that you care about me so much. You're willing to set aside all of these little scuffles so that we can get along in our partnership. So it is a little bit concerning to see. I feel like they just have the potential to be like this amazing love story. Like, what is the chances? What were the chances? What were the chances that the two of them were going to get together, be set up and be married and have known each other, and they're both like type A people and like to be super organized and all this stuff. Like, they have so many things working for them that they're working against themselves for something that can be so beautiful and so effortless. So I'm glad Johnny got his head clear and came back and was like, okay, let's get back into this experience and commit. And I think Bao really does have that warmth. They have to watch out because they are triggering. I think they're kind of triggering each other. I think Bao is kind of measured and very controlled, but maybe too controlled. Like, I'm like, and she got a little wild side, right? Weren't they were joking about the bets about who's gonna get intimate first and all that stuff. Like, she's got that fun side to her. She just needs to like bring it out. But in the moments where they're having a really good time together and they're present and they're such a cute couple, I really just want them to succeed. But the triggers are happening between the two of them and the insecurities are coming up. So I'm just like, I think it's just ego, just like let go of that, like being set in your way approach to things and just be like, okay, like it's time to be warm, loving, and flexible in this experience so that I'm whatever you were doing before, obviously you weren't in a relationship, you weren't in that long-term committed relationship that you wanted to be in. So it's like, hello, this is the ultimate opportunity. You've literally been handed something golden on a silver platter. Take advantage. So moving on to Ryan and Brett. So I'm just gonna get straight to it. I think they're a really cute couple together. I really like them together. I like that I think their dogs eventually started getting along. I think so. Ryan. So Ryan is having to be a little bit more patient with Brett. Brett is a little bit more cautious to being adventurous, and this is probably what has gotten in her way of having that full commitment in a relationship, is because she's coming forward and she's bringing in this cautious energy into the relationship, and therefore so are her partners, right? They're like, maybe we may not commit. So I think Ryan's being really patient, and it's kind of challenging because, again, the two of them have been paired with people who are not each other. They're not each other's type. In the past, they haven't been each other's type. There's a bit of attraction. There's some emotional intimacy that's being grown. And surprisingly, Brett has a crush on Ryan, and Ryan is kind of growing. Well, Pastor Cal asked if he was in love, which I was just like, after 2 days? What? He shouldn't be in love. Like, he doesn't even really know her. So, the only thing that's really, like, I think the two of them are doing a beautiful job together. They both are just kind of ready to be in that serious commitment. I think the only thing that's going to get in the way is Brett's insecurities, We kind of saw it in the previews, but we've also seen it in the previous episodes, like when they were having their dance at their wedding. Brett was like, oh my god, I don't know how to do that dance. Am I doing it right? Self-love. It's called self-love. Just have fun, be spontaneous, be in the moment, and enjoy your partner, enjoy your man. Because you have everything working. Again, you have everything working for you. Don't work against yourself to bring in things and situations that do not need to be brought into the partnership. You have yourself here a good man who is caring and sweet, and obviously you have a crush on him. Let go of these insecurities and allow yourself to receive. Because if you hold on to those insecurities in a partnership, that person can't be able to fully, they won't be able to fully give you that love because you can't receive it. See, this is why the self-criticalness, like women being like you gotta drop it, because in order for you to receive all of that love from your partner, you're gonna have to love yourself. You're gonna have to be like, this is just who I am. This is just how I dance. This is just what it's about. But they have the potential, I think, to be a successful long-term partnership, for sure. So moving on to Gil and Mirla. So obviously, I think a lot of us are kind of predicting that they're probably not going to work out. I'm not saying that to be mean, right? It's just kind of obvious that they seem incompatible and want two totally different lifestyles, right? Gil wants the 8 kids. Mirla is like stretch marks. I don't know about that. So they're incompatible. I feel bad. I honestly just feel bad that oh my gosh, I'm thirsty. Hold on. I feel bad that the experts paired them together because this partnership to me it didn't make any sense. Gil just seems like a humble blue-collar firefighter who wants real love. And Mirla wants a lifestyle. Like Mirla wants a lifestyle. So, she's growing on me because I like how direct she is. I actually kind of like that about her. The only thing is it can work against her in partnerships. Because that kind of directness it's great for work. It's great for certain situations. It's great for being very honest, right? It's great for having a really high self-esteem. However, I think it works against you because then you don't really have that flexibility. If you're very rigid, you don't have the flexibility in allowing people to bring their ideas to the table and allowing yourself to work in partnership, in harmony with that person. So I'm not quite feeling the romantic chemistry building between the two of them. They're a very cute couple together. They're very attractive together. However, I just don't think they're compatible. So it is what it is. Mirla is a very good example, as I was saying earlier, of the independent woman program. So, independent woman, I can take care of myself. The only thing is it comes off a little bit too rigid, right? And this is where the independent woman ideology can get in the way, because that's good if you're taking care of yourself and you're providing for yourself and you're on your own, but you're not an totally independent person in a partnership. You're interdependent. So you have your own dreams and desires and hopes and wishes and careers. But then when you're in a partnership, you harmonize your life with that person so that you guys can share some of the same goals, or your goals can work in accordance with their goals, and you guys can kind of just harmoniously move forward together. She's kind of just wanting, this is my lifestyle, this is how I do things, and then there's my man over there. I can provide for myself. It's not the fact that she's providing for herself, it's kind of the general energy and attitude of like, are you willing to let love come in? Are you willing to let your partner take care of you and be with you? Are you willing to be present with them regardless of whether things are up to your standards, right? And I really give Gil props for his humor. I feel like he's used so much humor and it's made me laugh to get through this on occasion. So I'm like, maybe he pushed a little too much, right? Talking about Mirla with the other couples when she wasn't there. But overall, I'm really proud of his approach with humor and how he's kind of getting through this. Because honestly, if I had heard someone complain that much about everything, I would have been really turned off. And I'm willing to bet he kind of is. It's just he has such a good attitude about life that he's willing to let it go. And he's willing to see this experience through. But he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He seems to know what he wants and kind of what he feels like he deserves in a partnership. So it's not like, I know some men in this show, if the woman isn't responding, they can start to get really insecure, and just be like, you know, I don't know what's wrong with her, da 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 this, da da da. You know, which I understand, right? You want that connection to happen. If she's not opening up, it's really frustrating. But surprisingly, he's handled it really well so far and with a lot of maturity. So he is ready for a partnership, a long-term partnership, and that commitment. I just don't think it's going to be with Mirla. Mirla, you know, I'm not really sure. I think there's just some, like, because she seems so rigid, I just feel like there's some vulnerability she's needing to work through. Because, you know, I understand if you're conservative, it takes your time to be intimate, it takes your time to open up. But this is probably not the show to sign up for if you're going to hold back so much, because it's such a short period of time to experiment. Excuse me. It's such a short period of time to experiment and see if you're compatible with someone. So you kind of want to throw everything in the kitchen sink into the experience to see if you're compatible. And it just seems like she's just holding back so much. Energetically, I'm not really feeling anything from her. I'm not really getting anything from her. I do like her directness. She is growing on me. And yeah, I like her confidence, and yeah, points for that. So on to our last couple, Michaela and Zach. So Michaela and Zach didn't get to enjoy their honeymoon, like the other couples did, because Zach ended up contracting the COVID. Ooh, maybe I'm not supposed to say that. The virus. But yeah, so what do I feel about this? I think them getting intimate, I think it happened too soon, or a little prematurely, because the physical attraction is obvious, right? It's like we're attracted to each other, we want to be intimate with each other, but the emotional connection is like still needing to be made, right? There's still a bit of immaturity there between the two of them, like individually, that they need to figure out and work through. I mean, just from the previous episode, that was just a lot. I'm like, they've known each other for 5 or 6 days, and already there's just this vulnerable scuffle. That's just the only word I can think of that Michaela is going through. Her fears. And I called it out even before the episode came out, and I did my previous review, which I'm not uploading because I'm uploading this one instead. I said that there is a lot of anger, right, in the previews and in the incidents from the previous episode that came up. For Michaela, that is anger masking a lot of trauma and pain. So there's a lot of healing she's still doing. And this is where it's very important when you get into a relationship. This is what I believe. You have to do the inner work first. Because if you don't do that inner work by yourself, that partner is going to trigger everything. Like, because it's an emotional connection. So guess what? All of these emotions are going to come out. The good, the bad, the ugly. All of it is going to come out. And so you want to make sure you have the tools for self-control. And I'm just like, she doesn't seem to have self-control, right? When she's really happy, she's really happy. When she's really angry, she's pissed, right? She just fluctuates with her emotions. And it can be beautiful when it is. But when you get to that anger and those sad emotions, this is where self-control and discipline is very important, or patience with yourself is very important, because it's not that person's responsibility to heal you. It's not responsibility to heal you, to appease you, to fix you, to respond to you a certain way. When you're getting angry, that's you, right? They triggered it. But your anger, your emotions in general are your responsibility. It doesn't matter what anyone does to you. Your emotions are still your responsibility, because guess what? They're happening in your body, in your mind. And so you have to move it somewhere so it doesn't stay traumatized and locked in the body. And then if that person just pokes you just a little bit, you're going to explode. So, I'm very I'm kind of hardcore about that, because I'm very much about inner work. To me, the idea of being in a relationship while also having a lot of trauma and pain to heal, it just never appealed to me, because I was just like, what the heck? Why would I want to be in a relationship? I already have so much I'm dealing with on my own internally that I can't handle a relationship. And that's just the way I thought about it. That's the way I saw it. Now, I think you can still be in a relationship and have some healing to do. You just have to know where you're at in your healing journey. You need to know where you're at. You need to, like, if you're talking to a therapist, you need to have something you're dedicating to your self-love and self-help, self-healing that you're doing. Because that inner work, all that trauma is you. And so, Zach here is just like, I don't know what you're going through. Pastor Cal, by the way, was the MVP of this previous episode. He did absolutely amazing. He asked phenomenal questions. He really helped the couples to get vulnerable and deep. And I never appreciated him more in this last episode, than I have ever. I think he did a phenomenal job. But he hit the nail on the head, right? Michaela, she's scared, right? Because her father was her protector, and so she's had to protect herself. Sorry. She's had to protect herself, but also not only that, I think people have kind of excused her because she's the baby of the family, right? Protect her sister. No. Look, I understand that we want the partner to protect and hold that person's heart dear. But at the same time, you always have to know how to protect yourself. You have to know your own boundaries, your own limits. And so, yes, I would want my family to be like, oh yeah, protect her. But then they would look at me and be like, oh, but she can take care of herself. So I think to some degree, maybe the immaturity or the lack of healing has been kind of excused because she's the baby. She was traumatized by her father dying, being killed in a drunk driving accident from someone else. So I can understand why people would excuse it, but the reason why you don't want to excuse it is because they won't be able to heal. You have to be like, you have to heal. You have to work on that. So I think Zach's response, the thing about Zach, I think he is very mature for his age, right? He's 27. The only thing is, for his age, 27 is still, to me, too young for a man to be getting married in most cases, because especially here in the United States and in Western society, most men are still, first of all, most of them are still building, right?Ey're still kind of deciding what they want and who they are. For Zach, in his case, it's who he is. He's become this very idealistic idea of what a man is in society, right? He's physically attractive, tall, dark, and handsome, has a good job, good career, good head on his shoulders. So he presents, I don't think he presents, I think that is who he is. It's just how he was raised, is to become this ideal, this Renaissance man in society. But I feel like he just needed a few more years to get to know himself and know who he was personally, just by himself, before getting married. I think he kind of rushed into the experience, and so now him and Michaela are coming together. She's dealing with her trauma, and he's gonna have to have the emotional maturity and patience to know how to handle it well. And I just feel like there's some maturity and growth that he still needs to be at that level to handle that kind of energy, especially. So that might be a little bit wary on him. And the thing about when men are young, they want the good feelings and when things are great. But when things get really dark, I think they really struggle to handle it if they're not, if they haven't seen it, especially that kind of trauma. If they haven't experienced it before, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is a lot of work. And so for Zach, I think that is a potential that can happen. So we'll see. Because yes, I've seen young men. They're like, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I love her. But then when things get really hard, they're just like, whoa, this is too much work. And that's because it takes men a little bit longer to mature emotionally, generally in Western society. And so it's just inevitable. I think he's doing really good for how he handled everything. but he does have to make sure he communicates with her, and he has to acknowledge, like, these are some of her triggers. I may not want to not text her or not call her or something. So that is my review for all of the couples. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are interested in more content from me, then go ahead, like, subscribe, comment down below, and also check out some of my videos. I'm gonna go ahead and link down below my website. So I'm an artist. I do portrait work, commission work, and I am very good at getting people to look exactly what they actually look like. It's one of my gifts, and I'm very happy to show it off. And I sell prints, and I do photography. What else do I do? A little bit of life coaching here and there. And yes, I've been busy with life and just doing me, but I'm coming back. So I'm coming back to this, and I'm so happy to come back and share, and life is just getting really exciting because everything is just kind of coming true bit by bit. Thank you for watching. Bye.